The phone rang, displaying an unfamiliar number. Who could be calling? Hello? Hello. This is James, your son. A voice came through. My heart skipped a beat. It's fine that you divorced my dad, but it's a problem if you don't fulfill your responsibilities as a mother. I mean, I'm already a high school student. Can't you stop involving me in the mess between you two? My mind raced as I struggled to comprehend. What? What are you talking about? And why are you calling me? I'm telling you to pay my child support and tuition fee. The root cause of all this is your infidelity, and now you're trying to take money from my dad. You've got some nerve, James continued, his voice escalating. Anger surged within me. Who do you think you're talking to? I have no recollection of having a child. Have you gone crazy, or are you trying to avoid pain by playing games? Don't mess with me, James retorted. But I wasn't joking. James must think I'm messing with him, but I'm surprisingly serious. As I said earlier, James is not my child. About 14 years ago, I was married to my ex-husband, and we were approaching our 3rd year together. Until then, our relationship hadn't changed much, and we got along fairly well. However, one thing felt unnatural: the issue of children. Before marriage, I had expressed my desire to have children soon. Yet 3 years into our marriage, my husband had never brought up the subject. It's been 3 years. What about having a child? I finally broached the topic. His response was dismissive. Oh yeah, but I'm busy with work right now. When will you not be busy? You always say that, and it's been dragging on until now. Our conversation took a strange turn, leaving me unsettled. I hadn't suspected him of cheating. I was simply trying to convey that if his behavior persisted, suspicions would inevitably arise. Yet for some reason, he appeared flustered, as if concealing something. This prompted me to delve into my ex-husband's activities, unveiling the truth behind his words and actions. Upon confronting him, his demeanor and the truth about his purported business trips painted a damning picture. It wasn't merely an affair. He was leading a double life. Half the month he was with me, and the other half with another family. What shocked me most was discovering that the other woman had a child. James, the same child who had called me earlier. At the time, James was merely 2 years old, oblivious to the complexities surrounding him. Was this a blessing in disguise? Regardless, someone was bound to be hurt. Deciding to confront the other woman, I approached her in the following days. Despite her immediate recognition of me, her demeanor was hardly welcoming. Amidst the tense atmosphere, I wasted no time in addressing my concerns. I questioned the morality of my ex-husband's double life and sought clarity regarding the child's parentage. Her response was disconcertingly composed. She showed no signs of guilt or remorse. Confidently, she asserted her role as James's mother, contrasting starkly with my ex-husband's attempts at concealment. Feeling somewhat overpowered by her unwavering demeanor, I pressed on, inquiring about her plans for the future. I have no intention of altering my current lifestyle. I'm content with it. However, I can't shake the feeling that he has no desire for more children. Why is that? When I informed him of my pregnancy with James, his reaction was less than enthusiastic. His response, that it wasn't the right time for a child, left me wondering if my pregnancy was merely happenstance. It made me question whether he harbored any desire for fatherhood at all. Despite his claims of loving children, his reluctance to embrace the news of our impending parenthood was puzzling. Upon sharing my doubts with the other woman, she offered a knowing smile. Isn't it curious? You who desire children conceived, while I who lacked such desire did not. Can we truly say he loves children? I wanted to refute her claims, but doubt crept in. Was his declaration of love for children sincere, or merely a facade to charm me? I couldn't be certain. The woman's words lingered in my mind, casting doubt on my convictions. It seemed my ex-husband was now contemplating the prospect of children, a notion he hadn't entertained before. As I pondered her assertions, her unwavering confidence left me feeling despondent. Days later, I took decisive action, filing for divorce and expressing my intention to seek a fair division of assets. He probably learned about me from the other woman. My husband accepted everything without questioning, even our divorce and my claims. In the end, I pondered why he had married me. That remained my sole curiosity until the very end. On the day I packed my belongings and left our home, I finally asked him the burning question: why did he marry me? I'm not sure. I don't really understand it myself, he admitted. I pressed further, wondering why we had tied the knot in the first place. You're right. We shouldn't have married at all, he confessed. We made a mistake. But Susan, you know I married you because I loved you. We just made the wrong choice. Let's strive for a better life from now on. Thank you for everything. With a heavy heart, I responded, thank you too. I'll pray not to choose someone like you in the next life. And so we parted ways. I embraced my newfound single status, seeking a fresh start. I changed jobs and relocated to another state, approaching everything with a renewed perspective. It was a challenging but ultimately enriching experience. Occasionally, I received administrative messages from my ex-husband, but we never shared details of our lives. He had his path and I had mine. However, after a decade of silence, I received an unexpected call from James. I pondered the reason behind James's call, but never anticipated his demand for child support and school fees. James, the product of an affair between my ex-husband and another woman, had no legal claim on me. Despite my attempts to explain this, he refused to listen. Shouldn't you feel ashamed as a mother? He accused, hurling hurtful words my way. Though his words grated on my nerves, I refrained from displaying anger, knowing it would only hinder communication. After a few moments, I seized the opportunity to speak. Firstly, how did you even get my number? I questioned. Obviously from your dad. Our family has been facing financial hardships, leading to struggles with school fees and Sarge. Dad blamed you entirely, painting me as the villain. But that's not the truth. His revelation struck a chord, explaining his anger. Yet it infuriated me to realize my ex-husband had deceived James, manipulating him against me. Dealing with this post-divorce ordeal was tiresome, but I couldn't ignore James's plight. Despite being a stranger to me, his innocence demanded compassion. Since then, I've remarried and have a child with my current husband. As a parent myself, I couldn't turn a blind eye to James' predicament. Feeling a sense of responsibility towards him, I resolved to begin by revealing the truth. At 16, James was old enough for an adult conversation. James, everything I'm about to tell you is the truth. I began. If you need proof, I can provide a DNA test. Will you listen? He nodded. I explained to James that we weren't parent and child and that I had divorced his father over a decade ago. Initially skeptical, James's demeanor shifted as I unveiled the facts. If what you're saying is true, then why did Dad make me call you? He questioned. James went on to reveal that he contributed financially by working part-time, with his father managing his earnings. Despite the family's financial struggles, James remained understanding and cooperative. But haven't you ever wondered why they can't pay for your school fees? I asked. James admitted to suspicions regarding his father's handling of finances, prompting me to consider investigating further. With James' consent and a promise to keep our conversation confidential, I embarked on a 3-week investigation into my ex-husband's affairs. And keep the contents of our call today a secret from your dad, okay? I requested. With his assurance, I commenced my inquiry into my ex-husband's actions. I enlisted the help of a private investigator and anxiously awaited the findings. Some might deem my actions excessive, but my sole motivation was James's well-being. I cared little for judgments labeling me as overly invested in someone else's affairs. When a child's welfare hangs in the balance, indifference is not an option. Amidst my determination to uncover the truth, my disdain towards my ex-husband simmered. His deceit towards his son fueled my anger, intensifying with each passing day of the investigation. After 3 weeks of anticipation, the investigator's report arrived, delivering a blow that left me reeling. Anger coursed through me as I learned the extent of my ex-husband's deception. Contrary to James's belief, my ex-husband wasn't a full-time employee but a temporary worker, recently laid off and now frequenting the unemployment office and casinos. His appearances in business attire masked his desperate job hunt, a far cry from the stable image he projected to his son. Worse still, my ex-husband shamelessly extorted money from James under the guise of remorse, only to squander it on frivolous pursuits. James's generosity, born from compassion, inadvertently funded his father's reckless habits. This revelation fueled my indignation. Such exploitation of a child's trust was unforgivable. With a determination to address James' situation, I reached out to my ex-husband's mother. Thankfully, I hadn't deleted her number. "Hello," she greeted, surprised by my call after such a long silence.
"Mother-in-law, could we talk for a moment?" I requested, feeling a mix of apprehension and resolve. I explained the current predicament, sharing the truth about my ex-husband's actions.
Despite our limited interaction during my marriage and subsequent divorce, I knew that my ex-husband's mother and her sister harbored no fondness for him. To my relief, she remained composed, seemingly understanding of my intentions. "I understand now. Thank you for telling me," she responded, her tone tinged with disappointment. As I recounted the details, I sensed her anger simmering on the other end of the line. "It all makes sense now," she remarked, her voice heavy with realization. "I hadn't been informed about James's birth because he was a product of his affair. He brought James around a few times, but you had just given birth and didn't want visitors, so he instructed us not to contact you." Moved by her empathy, I expressed my gratitude. "I'm happy now because James shows his face every once in a while. He might be born out of infidelity, but that's not his fault. I plan to stand by him from now on. You're such a wonderful grandmother," she concluded warmly. With her support, I felt a glimmer of hope for James' future. I felt a sense of relief, which prompted me to reach out to my ex-husband's mother with an unexpected proposal. I asked if she and her husband would be willing to take in James. Of course, she agreed readily. He's been working so hard at his part-time jobs, but his father squanders his earnings on slot machines. It seems I'll need to have a serious talk with him. We shared a chuckle, acknowledging James' admirable but misplaced efforts to support his father. My mother-in-law expressed her desire for James to live a carefree life with us. With her determination to raise James, his situation seemed to be on the path to resolution. However, there was still the matter of confronting my ex-husband. Arranging a meeting, I met him at a coffee shop, noting his disheveled appearance compared to before. "I didn't expect to hear from you," he remarked casually, unaware of the bombshell awaiting him. As he spoke of his financial struggles and deception, I seethed with anger. But before I could confront him, my mother-in-law, her sister, and James approached our table, having overheard his confession. They didn't hold back, condemning his actions and character. My ex-husband, caught off guard, could only stammer in response. Witnessing his true nature exposed, my ex-husband faced the consequences. Under my in-laws' guidance, he was put to manual labor, his earnings deducted as child support for James' expenses. Meanwhile, James found solace with my in-laws, distancing himself from his father's toxicity. He embraced his grandparents' kindness, embodying the innocence of youth. Reflecting on my actions, I pondered their righteousness. Yet seeing James' improved circumstances, I harbored hope for his happiness. As my mother-in-law once said, "There are no sins in a child."